Like other female mammals, cows only lactate, or produce milk, when they're pregnant or have a newborn to feed. And somatic cells, most of which in this case are white blood cells, are the same thing that erupt on the top of a big zit, so you could call it pus. The more bacteria, inflammation, and infection, the higher the somatic cell count. But don't worry, there's a limit.
People sometimes ask me, like, why don't you drink milk? It's probably because I have finished weaning. You only drink milk when you're a baby, and yet we have millions and millions of people still drinking milk, and the wrong kind of milk at that. Cow's milk is for baby calves, not humans, not adults, or human babies. So just think about that for a second, okay? That's one of the reasons I don't drink milk, okay, from a cow, because it's not meant for us. And to be honest, if you knew what actually was in that white liquid, you probably wouldn't drink it. A lot of people don't know that, and there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of pus, and there's a lot of hormones in there that are not necessary for the human being. Doesn't digest very well at all. That's why you're sick in the first place, because you've been drinking, eating lots of cheese, yogurt, all sorts of things. It's in almost everything these days. Milk.
Yeah, milk is a risky food for human consumption. As a pediatrician, I see on a daily basis children suffering from conditions that are linked or associated to dairy consumption, such as eczema, acne, constipation, acid reflux, iron deficiency, anemia. Cow's milk protein is the most allergenic food.
People say, well, no, I want hormone-free, not injected with bovine growth hormone. But milk is this hormonal fluid, so it's just packed with sex hormones and natural sex steroid hormones like estrogen, progesterone. In fact, doesn't matter if it's conventional milk, doesn't matter if it's organic milk. Milk without hormones, it's an oxymoron. Organic dairy has just as much saturated fat and cholesterol and galactose and all the things that you don't want as conventional dairy.
Dairy products in general have a lot of other products associated with it, not the least of which is pus. I mean, they actually have laws limiting how much pus you can actually have in a milk and still sell it. I believe it's like 750,000 pus cells per cc. Because, I mean, you wouldn't want too much pus and it'd be like pure pus. People might object. In fact, you could think of cheese as kind of coagulated cow pus, if you would.
It's really toxic to our bodies, and we don't understand that. But, you know, there's the good old marketing for you that tells you that you need your protein. If you don't drink your milk, you're not going to get protein. The whole calcium thing has actually been proven wrong, so that's why they don't really advertise cow's milk giving you strong bones anymore, because they've kind of changed their campaign to tell you that it has a lot of protein in it, so you should drink it. Cow's milk actually harms your bones. It doesn't actually do any good. In fact, it gives you other diseases like osteoporosis. And what is osteoporosis? Osteoporosis is a disease of the bone where your bones get very brittle, and that's why the majority of the Western population go get hip or have hip fractures, and their bones are very weak. So if cow's milk was to give us strong bones, then we shouldn't really be having very many hip fractures or breaking heaps of bones. Doesn't really make sense, does it? So there's a lot of science out there that shows that cow's milk is really bad for you, and you need to understand that the science that these guys are actually researching and conducting is non-biased. A lot of dairy companies that are funding these studies saying milk is good for you, and if you want to buy it, then buy the milk and keep getting sick. So I don't actually even drink plant milks either, just because I don't see the need to. You don't need to have those in your lifestyle, in your diet either. You get enough nutrients from other foods, so you don't need to go and specifically eat or drink non-dairy milks. A lot of dioxins in cow's milk, and obviously, you know, here's some stuff from What the Health, and if you have watched What the Health, then give this a thumbs up, because you understand that all animal products are very, very harmful for us. So there's absolutely no need to eat them.
I always knew that pollution was bad for our health, but I had never thought about the environmental pollutants affecting food.
Dioxins, being the most toxic man-made chemicals known to science, cause all sorts of things. They cause endometriosis, they cause cancers, they cause endocrine disruption problems. Most of your exposure, 93% of it, comes from eating meat and dairy products because it climbs up in the food chain so effectively. So you can get exposed to living near these incinerators and breathing it, but it'll take you 14 years to breathe in as much dioxin as a cow will ingest by eating the grass in one day. And that dioxin will accumulate in its fat, which includes the milk and the meat, and anyone eating meat or dairy products is going to get that dose of dioxin, so it climbs up the food chain every step. Men have no way in their bodies to get rid of dioxins, but women have two ways. They're both involving having a baby. One is that dioxin crosses the placenta into the growing infant, and the other is that it comes out from the breast milk. So if you have a meat and dairy consuming mother breastfeeding that infant, then the highest impacts of toxic exposure like mercury and dioxins will go to that infant.
There's so many other things about dairy and the dairy cows, and how they're treated, and even if they are grass-fed or whatever fed or free range or organic, they all die in the end, and their lifespan is very, very little. And check out the udders, on the cows these days. They're pumped full of hormones to obviously produce more milk, which is not for its baby calf, it's for humans. So here's a video by Erin Janis, talks about why dairy is scary. So check this out.
Like other female mammals, cows only lactate, or produce milk, when they're pregnant or have a newborn to feed. So the dairy industry inseminates or impregnates cows starting at the age of around 12 months over and over and over again, so they keep making milk. And it's a rather routine process. You see, first the industry jacks off a bunch of bulls, sometimes using a hand or help from an electro-ejaculator, which is basically a giant cow dildo that goes into the anus of the bull until he blows. And that semen is collected and then inserted into the vagina of a female cow with a long tube, usually while she's confined in what the industry calls a rape rack. And sometimes they put their fist right into the anus of the female cow, to loosen the area.
To make the process as effective as possible.
What are you feeling for in there when you... Oh, it's a bit jumpy. I think I would be if someone did that to me.
And when that baby cow is born, it's pretty much immediately taken away from its mother and locked in a crate. Because if it stayed around mom, it would drink her milk. And that shit's for us. And you see, a mother cow's bond with her young is very strong and affectionate, and she sometimes cries out for days in search of her baby. But nobody gives a shit. If the baby's a male, his throat is slit and he's sold for veal. And if it's a girl, she's raised to be a milk machine like mom. So dairy cows are continuously, repeatedly kept pregnant their whole lives to keep them lactating. This leads to premature aging, exhaustion, and mastitis, a painful yet common condition in dairy cows, which is inflammation and sometimes infection of the udder. Pus and blood in the milk of dairy cows is also common, so it's usually filtered. But not completely, because in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, up to 400,000 somatic cells are legally allowed in every milliliter of cow's milk. And in the United States, 750,000 somatic cells per milliliter. In Brazil, 1 million. And somatic cells, most of which in this case are white blood cells, are the same thing that erupt on the top of a big zit, so you could call it pus. The more bacteria, inflammation, and infection, the higher the somatic cell count. But don't worry, there's a limit. I mean, the dairy industry has wormed their way into education systems, nutritional programs, and media to convince us that we need to drink milk. But when you're in school learning about how good milk is for you, that's not because there was a panel of people who care about your health that determined that. That's because the dairy industry paid lots of money for you and your children to hear that message in school, and on TV, and on billboards, and magazines, and for your doctors who don't have to take more than a few hours of a nutrition course to tell you to drink your milk. You see, rhino milk is for baby rhinos. Dog's milk is for baby dogs. Cat's milk for baby cats. Rat milk is for baby rats. And cow's milk is for humans? No, it's for baby cows. And vegans are crazy? Dairy is fucking scary.
So basically, just going to sum up and say that, look, if you drink milk, it's obviously going to set you back. That's what's put you in this position in the first place, and if you want to get out of it, then obviously stop drinking it. And you know, there's banana milk, there's date milk, you can also make, there's a lot of fruit milk that you can make. Obviously just blend the fruit, add a little bit of water, and there you go. It's not very hard, and it's much healthier for you. So I would definitely recommend you do something like that instead of drinking another species' milk. And obviously post it in the comments below, your thoughts, and let me know what you think about milk, any kind of milk, whether it's yogurt, whether it's fermented, whether it's raw, whether it's this or that. Just let me know if you have any questions at all, and I'll get back to you. So thanks for watching, and take care, and there's always a life after colitis. So thanks for watching, guys.